Spice of Life, sponsored by Himani Memi Indian Restaurant, located at 268 George Street, Liverpool.
Welcome to our program. You're watching Spice of Life. I'm your host, Michelle Sook. As usual, we bring to you a cocktail of spicy segments, and without further ado, we'll go to the first segment of our program.
Hello and welcome to our special community arts segment. I'm Chandi Pereira. Well, in these segments, we are bringing you the highlights from a special book launch and a film launch which took place in Black Rose Theatre Restaurant in Liverpool. In this event, there were 3 books launched and also a documentary film by Satish Rai, Milap, The Land of South Indian Gurmitias, was launched. Well, last week you had the opportunity to meet Professor Vijay Mishra and also get to know his book. Well, today we will bring you the highlights of the launch of the second book, which was written by Dr. Uma, who came all the way from Adelaide to attend this function. Well, let's go to Black Rose and take a look.
The good doctor from Adelaide would agree with me that it's a sign of good health in a community when doctors begin to write poetry and other kinds of literary work. And Dr. Umanand Prasad is already known to us as a poet, and he has published a very interesting collection of poems that we reviewed in one of the issues of the Asia Pacific Voice. And now he has written an autobiography, and that we're going to launch this evening. I think the most interesting thing about that autobiography, from my perspective, is all the nostalgia that he creates about life in Mombasa, growing up in Mombasa. It's the beautiful anecdotes and beautiful stories. He shows in the book that he's a great storyteller, but of course he has a lot of opinions as well, and on varied subjects. So the book is a composite of a huge amount of storytelling plus his opinions on very serious matters that concern us. I'd like to ask Dr. Alfred Wilson to come and launch the book. He's, I'm told, the first reader of the book. Probably he's also most knowledgeable to speak on that text.
This book is not a novel. It is not altogether an autobiography. It is not a construction that compiles a whole lot of poems. And yet, it is all of that in one anthology. How does an author do that? It even contains a glossary of exotic words. It is just a fascinating anthology. My advice to you is grab hold of one copy tonight and read it. I warn you though, once you pick up this book, you will not put it down. You might miss out on important appointments, your favorite TV shows. You might forget to do your spouse's messages, all because this book will engross you so. It recounts the story of a young man as he grows up in contemporary Fiji, gets educated there, wanders farther afield and abroad, becomes a professional person, returns to Fiji, works, then moves on beyond. Replete with grammatical and other misconstructions, the book is written in simple lexicon, directed at us, simple people.
But I'd like to say just a few words as time progressed here today. Mr. Suren Prasad, I knew of him a long time back when he was mayor in Lautoka, then later I think he became member of parliament. I read his book which he helped to publish in Fiji, Merek His Varsh by Totaram Sanade, which was ghostwritten by Pandit Banarsi Das Chaturvedi. That was very interesting, and it showed us what our grandparents and great-grandparents suffered during the Gurmit time. Now, Alfred Wilson, Dr. Wilson mentioned that he's a bit confused or by the title of the book. It's no enigma. This title was basically, I had initially titled this book as Mother Fiji, then Mata Fiji, and then because it talks about my grandmother and all that, and she was known as Mai by my father, and that's why it is called Mai Fiji, Mata Fiji, Mother Fiji. And the title was taken, and this was done at behest of Professor Satyan Nandan. He says, take a word from the book and give that a title. And this is taken from, this is small poetry that I have written. I'm not a great poet, but I have written about our lives in Australia and how we feel being away from Fiji. For us, we have lost Fiji, and this is what we have. I have written about the loss of Fiji. Fiji दसवा छूट गई है माई हमारी, रात भर मोहे नींद ना आवे, याद आवे कोरोतारी. Those who know, Korotari is a small village in Lambasa. Fiji दसवा छूट गई है माई हमारी, रात भर मोहे नींद ना आवे, याद आवे कोरोतारी. Roast lamb mohe neek na lage. Neek means don't feel good. It's a Hindi word, old ancient. Roast lamb mohe neek na lage. Lage bread pathrari. Naram parota de do bitiya aur boda ke tarkari. Ladka seedha muh nahi bole. This is the situation in Australia. Ladka seedha muh nahi bole. Pato kare takrari. Pota potin ke piche bhago. Yahi hai kaam hamari. फीजी दसवा छूट गई है माई हमारी, ठंडा देश में सब रोवत है, घेर निगोना थारी, which is a very appropriate situation in here. Now, this book that I have written, it's nothing compared to what Professor Vijay Mishra has written, nothing compared to what Professor Subramani. When Professor Subramani wrote his book, I did not know, haste haste hum lot pada. I did not know what it meant till I read that book, and I really fell down and read Doka Puran. Aur lotat hum mood diya, and that is from the book. And please forgive me, I'm not being vulgar, but that is what that book is, and it's a very, very interesting book, Professor Subramani's, and it's full of the things that I have said, and if it has been offensive to somebody, please forgive me. In Doka Puran, I told I told another person, and that is Professor Satyendra Nandan, that he shouldn't have made his character, the main character, the hero of the book, Fiji Lal. And myself and Satyendra, we always have a joke of this nature. He says, why not? That's the most appropriate. We are all children of Fiji. We are all Fiji Lal. I said, but Professor Bridgelal, who's another great writer and whose book is spread out, he'll never agree with that, because Bridge has written very clearly, we are not Lal, we are Kariya. And Fiji Kariya would have been a more appropriate name for the book, the hero of the book.
Thank you, Uma, and thank you, Dr. Alfred Wilson.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. And next week, I will be back with the launch of the third book. Hope you'll join us then.
We hope you enjoyed the show. For more information on Spice of Life, please contact Satish Rai. And until next week, it's goodbye from us.
Spice of Life, sponsored by Himani Memi Indian Restaurant, located at 268 George Street, Liverpool.